Hey, welcome back. It's Jermaine Morgan here, and today I want to talk to you about using the Phrygian scale to add a few more ideas to your improvisation. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So we've been talking about groove and a lot of those different things over the last few weeks. If you've been here, if you haven't been here, go back and catch up on my videos. And before I forget, turn on my notifications. Some of y'all are missing my videos, and I really want you to see the stuff that I'm putting out. I really want to help all of you guys. So be sure to turn on that bell notification so you see all of my new videos that I put out. In today's lesson, I want to deal with something. Improvisation is something that a lot of bass players are getting a lot more into because we're exploring this instrument and we're seeing that there's so many more capabilities that this instrument has that a lot of us don't dive off into. Even if you don't plan to be a professional soloist, it's always good to just kind of have those other ideas that you can pull from, something other than slapping on every solo or thumping on every solo. I know a lot of times for a lot of bass players, the go-to scale is pentatonic. That's easy to pull off and it just sounds good almost with anything, almost. Sometimes when you want to get out of that box of just playing pentatonic scales, it's good to figure out some other things that you can use. And in today's lesson, I want to show you how you can incorporate the Phrygian scale by using the relative major mode. Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. So I'm going to show you this. It's going to be really quick so you guys can start using it right away. So here's what I'm doing. So we're in the key. This particular groove that I was playing is in the bass player's favorite key, E minor. You know, we can rock out in E minor. I'm just rocking back and forth from D to E. Low E, low E. That's all I'm doing. So the relative major that I'm using is G major. Okay? For some of you who have never heard of relative major, minor, that kind of thing, I do a lot of talking about it in my monthly membership lessons that we'll talk about a little later. But G major is where we're coming from because if you don't know, the 6th of G major is E minor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That sets us right up for that groove. And if we were to go to the 4 in G, back to G major, So you can think of this groove either in the key of G, or you can think of it in the key of E minor. So the easy way to find the relative major, if you're in the key of E minor, walk up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And it puts you right there. That's the little quick cheat sheet way to do it, to find the relative majors. That's simple. So what I'm doing now that we know what the relative major is, I'm taking the Phrygian scale, the 3rd degree of that scale, which is B. Okay, I'm taking that B and building over that B for that E groove. It works because it's all relative. Okay, so B would be your 3rd position, which is your Phrygian mode. Now my theory heads might get me out there for the way I'm teaching this, but this is a way that I was able to learn it and help it make sense to me when I first started kind of digging into the modes and trying to understand it, that kind of thing. You shouldn't get a citation for approaching it the way that I'm telling you to approach it. But I'm starting on that B Phrygian. But the thing about it is I'm not playing it as a scale. So once again, I want to show you what it is. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B is your full scale. So for that sake, I'm only taking it 1 octave. Okay? That's the entire scale. If you want to keep going up with it, of course I don't have enough frets to keep going up with it, but I'm taking notes from that particular scale and I'm adding passing notes as well in there, or accidentals, however you want to look at them. And I'm using a pentatonic there. We won't get into all of that today, but the idea that I'm using is taking that. Now I just want you guys to hear what it sounds like over that groove, just so you can hear it in context. Because right now I know you're saying, man, that don't even make any sense with E minor, but just listen to it in context for a second. And what it does, it gives you something a little more melodic instead of it just being all. You know, that's fun, but sometimes you may want to start your solo off with something a little bit more melodic and a little more major sounding over that groove to give you somewhere to go, so the entire solo isn't just sounding like a blues solo the entire time. So here's the example with it over the groove, using that the B Phrygian scale over the groove. I'm playing it just normally as a scale. Just changing up the rhythm a little bit so it don't sound too elementary. That's more elementary, but at least I'm subdividing against the groove, and so it makes it feels a little different. So and so another thing that I'll do a lot of times, now that you kind of got how I'm placing it in the groove, I'll use like some of the pentatonic scale to get out of it or find another idea. The reason I say that is because the average listener recognizes the pentatonic scale. So if you bring it back to something that people recognize, it might be more easier for them to catch what you're playing and then take them out there again and then bring them back to something that they recognize. Because if you stay out there in no man's land for a while, most people aren't going to understand it, which is fine. If that's your interpretation of how you're hearing it, that's fine. But if you're trying to play for people who are not that musically inclined, you might want to bring it back to something that's more recognizable in your solo, so you're going in and out, in and out. I've learned this idea from some of the best soloists that I've ever heard. They take us out there a little bit and go in no man's land, and they come back and play something familiar so you can kind of identify with the idea that they're playing, and they take you out. They kind of give you this idea of tension and release. I've heard some different teachers talk about that idea using tension and release. In this particular instance, it's not that much tension that's being created because it's still relative to the key, and you're not necessarily stepping outside of the key. you're just merely using a relative major of the key. So again. So now you hear that I'm kind of using some other things to get out of it, and it's sounding more major and minor at the same time. Now, if I wanted to create a little more tension, I could do that same Phrygian scale a half a step up and then come back out of it. I'll show you in context. So it gave you a little bit of tension there because I did the C Phrygian right behind the B Phrygian. And so that kind of gave me somewhere to go, and it created a little bit of tension. So anyway, that's enough of that idea for right now. But I just want to give you guys some other ideas that you can add to your improvisation that create a little bit more of a wow factor when you play. And hopefully this is something that you can add right away to your plan. So remember, if you want this full lesson, check the link in the description, and I will see you guys on next week. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. And listen, if you enjoyed the content, click the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on my notifications so you can be notified each week once I post a new video. I really appreciate you guys being here, and check it out. If you want more content like this, and if you want to get even more in depth on the bass lessons, remember to head over to JermaineMorgan.net. There I have many more bass lessons. I talk a little bit more in depth on some of these subjects that we've covered here on YouTube, and I also have music. Most of you don't know, but I am an artist as well, so I do have music available there. If you want to hear me really play, I have music there, so check it out, and I will see you guys on next week. Thank you. I'm out of here.